Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Yeah. Welcome to Music on the Run. This episode features an unbelievable drummer, Kenny Aronoff. He's next on Music on the Run.
Before we get started here, do me a favor. Wherever you got this podcast, make sure you subscribe, give us a rating, and if you have time and like what you're hearing, make sure you write a review. It really helps us get the word out so we can have a lot more people coming to the party. Hey everybody, I'm St. Paul Peterson. Prince gave me that nickname, and I've been lucky enough to tour with people like the Steve Miller Band, Kenny Loggins, Peter Frampton, Donny Osmond, to name a few. And when I'm not playing music, I love to run. And this is a podcast about how we stay healthy on the road, physically, mentally, and with our families. Welcome to Music on the Run. Hey everybody, St. Paul here. Welcome to episode 30, I cannot believe it, of Music on the Run. My next guest is one of the world's most influential and in-demand session and live drummers. Rolling Stone magazine, in fact, cited him as one of the 100 greatest drummers of all time. And Modern Drummer named him number one pop rock drummer and number one studio drummer for 5 consecutive years. Whew. His credits include John Mellencamp, The Stones, Springsteen, to name a few. He's an author, a motivational speaker, and he's also got the hippest glasses, so that's why I put these on. Please welcome Kenny Aronoff. Kenny, hello, Kenny.
They're all lying. It's all a bunch of lies. I'm actually a Navy SEAL, and I make pancakes on the sides. I mean, this drumming thing is phony baloney.
Well, you know, you fooled a lot of people for a lot of years, though, so...
Dude, I even have a drum set. It's like I don't even play drums.
Do you make pancakes on those drums? Is that what the deal is?
No, I do that I have a big famous pancake restaurant and actually a business called, Kenny's Pancakes.
Kenny's Pancakes in Irvine. Is that correct?
Yeah, Irvine.
Irvine.
It's down right now because of COVID, but I'm making COVID cakes.
You make COVID. Well, I understand. That's a good business plan. I'm excited for you. You keep reinventing yourself. Wow.
Yeah. I do. Now that's a fact. I have embraced adversity my entire life.
That's true. We're going to get into all that. Before we get into all that stuff, first of all, you and I don't even know if you remember this, how we know each other. Probably 20 years ago, you and I did a record with a girl by the name of Shannon Kerfman.
Absolutely. In Minneapolis. And
That's right.
It Tucker?
Tom Tucker. Wow. He got
Tom
the greatest
Tucker was
drum
the engineer.
sounds, dude.
Sadly, he's not with us anymore. And what was the name of the studio in Minneapolis?
Was it Master Mix?
It was the one that Tom Tucker was always at.
Right. That was called Master Mix. We all owned that. Ricky, my brother, myself.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. We all owned that place. And it ended up becoming a school.
What? Oh, yeah. Tucker started that school, right?
He did start that school. Yes, he did.
And wasn't there a place we go across the street, have drinks and food at the end of the session?
Oh, yeah. Why am I forgetting what that is? They got the world's greatest pork chops.
Yeah. That was great, man. And was your brother on that record?
Ricky was on that. I think you've played with him a few times, right?
I did. I definitely did.
Yeah.
It seemed like,
by the way,
day,
he says hello to you, and I can't forget to do that because he wanted to make sure. He'll kill me otherwise.
That's awesome, man. I mean, tell him I say hi. Yeah, those were the days where I had 2 sets of drums in Nashville, 2 in LA, 2 in New York, 1 in Germany, 1 in Japan, believe it or not, and then obviously a ton in Indiana where I lived. But they would fly me, they'd fly me when budgets were huge. I'd be flown it seemed like I was nonstop on a plane flying somewhere to do a record.
That's the good news, right?
That's great news. You used to be out here all the time. You had a place out here for a second.
I did. I was in Venice doing the Donnie and Marie's show and living out there and raising my kids back here. So my commute was between Minneapolis and LAX. And
that's not bad. That's like, what is it, 3.5 hours?
3.5 hours. Not a big deal at all.
And back then it was Northwest. Now it's Delta. But man, I mean, that's a breeze. You get on there, you can do work, you can read. Back in the day,
I love it. And I'm a pilot too, so I love
What?
You don't know
You're
that?
a pilot?
Yes.
No.
Oh man, we'll talk, but I've been flying for 21 years.
Oh my God! So
I love it.
Are you certified to fly? What kind of planes?
Just little small Cessnas and Pipers and things like that. That's
Well,
why Nathan East and I talk a lot about that. He's a pilot.
Look it. I'll get on a plane with you, but I want 2 engines and a parachute.
No confidence whatsoever in my ability.
Well, however, the glide ratio with a Piper Cub single engine is pretty damn good.
So, what have you been doing during COVID? I want to know what you've been up to, man.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm a fight or fight guy. I embrace adversity head on. And so as soon as the last show I was doing with Fogerty, which got canceled, and like a couple before that, I went, all right, this is for real. I came home, I made a list of, you know, I was going to go on tour all year with Joe Satriani, Fogerty, and something with Billy Gibbons. I mean, I was pretty good. And I had some speaking events. I immediately wrote down what I had and what I lost. And then I created a plan of how to, you know, replace all of that with new stuff. I took 4 courses last year because I wanted to, this was an opportunity to grow mentally that would all feed into the speaking business. And a couple of it was personal stuff. Like I took a positive intelligence course, which is all about moving all negative thoughts and negative energy, which is in the saboteur part of your brain, over to the sage part of your brain, which is positive. And they've done MRI studies where if you're always negative, you can see literally as if it was a muscle, it builds up in your brain where you think positive, it's a different muscle, and the brain matter, you can see that it's way better to be on the positive side. And it's been proven that you live, you know, a longer life, a happier life, less stressful life, which will make you, in generally, more healthy. Someone just hit me up on that. I thought, what the heck? And I was in a group with all business, you know, corporate people. It was amazing. But I would never have done that if it wasn't COVID. Now, with regard to touring, there was really not, I mean, you know, that's done. But thank God, 12 years ago, I'm in my studio right here, Uncommon Studios, LA, you know, and 12 years ago, when I saw the budgets change, you know, and I'm living in Indiana in the Midwest like you, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, Kenny, if you happen to be in town, I went, what? And then I said, are the budgets changing? And they went, yeah. So I got an apartment out here, eventually got this studio, built it up. And so this year, I thought maybe there wouldn't be a lot of sessions because, you know, people are trying to survive and save their money. But the thing is, and the cool thing is, not that I had to be reinforced with this idea, but music makes people feel good. Talk about saboteur and sage. Yeah. Music makes people feel good from a place in your heart. So I think a lot of people, you know, they didn't care. And they wanted to make music. It made them feel good. It's the only thing that made them feel good in many cases. So I had a huge, successful year in recording here. I even did an Access TV show. It was Sammy Hagar's road show. And we had, Sammy did it here. We had the camera people from Access TV come in and see if there was enough distance where they could get the cameras in and get the right shots. So we did. It was featuring Lukather, whose gear is right down the hall from me, and he was like almost my neighbor. So he was featured. Can you imagine Sammy interviewing Steve? That was great. And so then we actually did Crossroads from like Cream, like when they recorded it, you know, with that feel, and his son Trevor played bass. Yeah. It was badass. You know, I mean, it's just a blues. So, and it was badass. So, and by the way, live, no edits. Sammy's like, dude, I got a monitor. I don't need a monitor. All I have to hear is the guitar. I mean, Luke had his double Marshall stack. and
because he can.
Yeah, and I'm such a shy, quiet drummer. This room was pounding, and the vocal mic is right there picking up. You know, but it was incredible. Anyway, that was the drumming, recording, performance element. Now, because I'm a speaker and I do these more inspirational speeches.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because I don't think a lot of people know about that side of you.
Well, let me just say, I adapted. I created lights and got equipment and cameras, and I got like 3 computers in here, 3 TV monitors, and I got 2 iPads to run this whole thing, plus Pro Tools, Digital Performer, switchers. I mean, it's not a casual thing. It's a serious operation here. It's like a TV studio. But anyway, the motivational thing, or inspirational thing is when I came up with my, I wrote my autobiography, Sex, Drums, Rock and Roll, something like that. Anyway, so I got asked to speak, and I put together basically I called it an evening with Kenny Aronoff, and I had a deck like you can see behind me. Oh wait, here I'll show you. I mean, I got pictures, I got slides I can run through, different things like this, and I put together a deck that would go good with the event I was doing. I accidentally ran into a speaking agent, and I had a meeting with him, and he looked at me and go, "Look, kid," or Kenny. Because I could be his dad. He'd go, "Kenny, most people think they can speak and they don't got nothing to say." Am I allowed to swear on this thing?
Whatever you want, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he says, "Look, most people think they can speak, but they ain't got shit to say." And he explained to me how this works. And wow, it's just like anything else. Playing bass or drums, it looks easy when you make it look easy. You make it look easy, people go, "Oh, I can do that." Until nobody knows what goes on. And I don't care what it is. It could be being an expert at scratching your bald head. There's a technique you have to learn.
A lot of practice there.
And so, actually, I came up with this method, which I talk about. It's called...
Do we speak about that? Do we?
Anyway, I have this thing called RPS. The repetition of any skill is the preparation for success. I mean, playing bass, hours and hours, working on every angle, every aspect of the instrument. Same with drums, same with golfing, same with diet, same with lifting weights, same with business, anything. We're not robots, we're humans. If you expect shit to come to you, and no one's born successful. You make your success. And what's more, you can't set it and forget it.
Right.
You got to keep working on it. In the old days, you could become successful, and that's it. These days, no. Hence the COVID. Look at our business. LPs to cassettes to CDs. I went, enough already. And then all of a sudden, CDs weren't in. It was like downloading, and then iPods with all your music, and then it's free. And that's what created the no budgets for records, because I'm on 3 records that sold over 40 million copies. Meatloaf, Bat Out of Hell 2 with
10 minutes and 35 seconds.
Huh?
How many minutes was Bat Out of Hell?
It was 10 and a half minutes, and the record on the radio stations won 3.5 minute songs. So when that record was recorded, I was going, this was 8.5 minutes or 8 minutes when we were recording it in LA. And I went, you guys are wasting your time and your money, but go ahead, pay me. I don't care. Spend a week on that song. A year later, I get a call and I go, "Hey, Kenny, we want to record more songs on Bad Out Hell 2. Are you available?" "Yeah, yeah." Says, "And we're adding 2 minutes to that. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that." I went, "Are you effing kidding me?" So they added that. I would do anything for love.
Right.
But I won't do that except for me. I would do that. I do all of it.
I won't do.
Yeah.
I want to know how big that chart was.
Oh, dude, that's a great question. So, like a lot of charts, everybody knows I'm the most anal chart writer in the world. I write every note out. But
why is that?
The reason why I write every note out is I have a shit memory, and I can record 10 songs, or let's say I do the Kennedy Center honors, or let's say I do an event with you where you're like, well, I saw you up there doing that corporate thing where you were the conductor, and look, you hire me, you can count on me. You know, I write charts, and every time you say, "Hey, Kenny, could you?" I go, "Lululup." And "Hey, Kenny, could you?" Lululup. I write down the tempos of every song. I write down who I'm going to count off to, When should I count off? Do I count off? Do I give the tempo to the conductor? To you, you're the MD. I'll have a discussion with you. I get a script of the show. When I do Kennedy Center Honors, I get a script of the entire rundown. When I did Obama's inauguration, I did 25 bands.
Ooh.
And so me and the MD, I'm the Tom Brady, you're the Bill Belichick. You need to have me on the field to execute what you want done. And so the MD would call me up because, man, he didn't have to worry about tempos. He didn't have to worry about count-offs. When Tom Hanks says, I already have my sticks up, already got the click going. I have to count off to whoever. I go, get their attention. I go, 3, 4, and we're in. I got everything written down. You don't want to mess up when Sting is there, McCartney's there, Elton John's there, Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, 16 cameras on you, being filmed and recorded live.
You're a perfectionist. You want to do the thing. You do your job 1,000% is what it sounds like.
Absolutely. So this is the only way I'm going to remember all that information. One example was on a Meatloaf record, the Bat Out of Hell 3.
Yeah, tell me that.
And so
that's where we were going with that originally.
Remember the power station in I can't remember. Anyway, the point is, it's Ron Neverson. Did you ever work with Ron?
Mm-mm.
Boy, tough guy. He's old school. If you don't know how to play, he'll beat you. It's not this like baby hand-holding, coddling. Oh, can you just loop my one measure and make it a song? No. I'm the guy that can play. When I record, I play from the beginning to the end. That's why it's great to write everything out. From the beginning to the end, because you get a performance. You can't program that. You can't loop that. So, dude, learn your goddamn instrument. That's the way you become succshelf.
There it is.
Back then and now. You want to make it in a business? Learn your instrument. You still will be top shelf call if you get a reputation of being a bad mofo.
Right.
So anyway, Ron, I've got 3 pages of me scribbling every note. It looks like black. And so Ron, I'm making some adjustments, and here's what Ron goes. Ken, what are you goddamn doing? You writing a letter to your mom? And I said, Ron, when I get done writing my letter to my mom, I'm going to give you one take, and then you can tell me what you like about it, and then I'm going to give you another take from beginning to end. And I did. Now, here's the deal about that. You work with a producer like that, he's got zero tolerance, as you can tell. Yeah. When I go through beginning to end, now he can be a producer. He can listen to me and go, oh, that's good. Okay, would you do this, this, and this? Right. Sure. As opposed to, no, Kenny, there's 2 choruses after the second release. In other words, I know the form. I'm playing with a click track, and I can keep time. I know all my parts. Lets him be creative. So there's this creativity going between me and him with that big glass between us. I'm a producer's delight because I can let them be creative. Creating. Now, that Bat Out of Hell song you were talking about, I'll never do anything with love, but I won't do that.
Yep.
Dude, it might have been like 10 pages. I had 3 or 4 music stands, and I had to keep doing this. And Jim Steinman would go,
what? I can't see. Wait a minute.
Oh, dude, it was insane. So, and I was younger back then, so, and I didn't have time. They didn't send back then because there were big budgets. They didn't send you like the music ahead of time. You walk in, and they play it. God, Nashville used to terrify me. They'd play these demos that sounded like finished product. They're using the number system, and the people who want to know what that is, what they'll do is, like, if you're playing in the key of A, and the 1 chord is an A chord, the 5 chord would be E. So A, B, C, D, E, 5 chord. And then they might go 5 with a 7, flat 3. I don't have to worry about that, but I listen to, if I hear a minor chord, I go, oh, yeah.
Right.
So they would play the song, and the bass player or the keyboard player or the guitar player would start writing out on the fly this number chart. Then they play it one more time, and I'm sitting there trying to memorize what I'm hearing. Then they print out the charts. Everybody takes the chart, and they go to their stations. Now, in Nashville, they record everybody at once. Drums, percussion, maybe 2 or 3 guitar players, pedal steel, violin, singer, and whatever else. And everybody is impeccable. Everybody plays. Everybody has great time, great feel, great instruments, and everything is fast. And so while they're going out there, I'm like, please play it again. Oh, no, I know. They do one run through with everybody there. And I'm sitting there scribbling, writing. I mean, these drum parts are impeccable. They're incredible. And writing, and then everybody goes in there, and I'm like, please play it one more time. And I'm writing and writing and writing and writing.
Yeah.
And I'll go, can you play it one more time? I write it down. I go out there because they expect the drummer to nail it in the first take.
Of course.
And you have to understand, down there, it's, you know all this, 10, 2, and a 6 session. That means at 10 o'clock, I get there at 9, get drum sounds. At 10 o'clock, bam, we start. We're going to record 3 songs, just like I described. 3 songs I've never heard with this process between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. That's one an hour. Then I got 1 hour to get lunch and get to the next studio. Go to the next studio, or unless we're going to do it all in one studio. Next studio, a lot of times it'll be another session. I have another drum kit over there. I get sounds, and we go through this whole process again from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Then I got 1 hour to get to the next session, which could easily be another studio. Sometimes they'll take my kit in the first studio and then move it to the third studio. It was just insanity. And I would just be running all over town. And so, yeah, you have to be, for me to be at that level, you got to be able to read music. And so, when I got that education in classical music, I thought, and when I graduated, I got into the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra, and I turned it down. I turned it down because if I back up, I saw the Beatles when I was 10 years old. I told my mom, I was blown away. I didn't know who they were. All I know is I said, Mom, I want to do that. Call the Beatles up. I want to play in the Beatles. And, because at that split second when I saw the Beatles, I was like blown away. I mean, this was a heartfelt experience. I was bouncing off the wall. I was exhilarated. And I didn't know who they were, where they were from, but I wanted to be doing that. And I asked my mom, call them up. I want to play with the Beatles and get me a set of drums. Well, she didn't happen to have the Beatles number, so she didn't call them up.
Mom.
She didn't get me a drum set, but I showed you earlier this picture of me. And my parents went to New York and got me this a snare drum and a cymbal. Yeah, anyway, so I saw the Beatles, but the cool story about that, I started that band, the Alley Cats, and I just played through probably like you. We just played in bands all through high school. When it was time to go to college, they asked me, what are you going to major in? Because in my family, we all went to college. So I said, well, music. But there was only jazz or classical majors. I'm so old, they didn't have rock, nothing. There wasn't even a drum teacher teaching rock. So I was self-taught. So I got into an okay school for classical. Basically, I spent a year trying to catch up. And then I transferred to the number 1 school of music in the country, Indiana University School of Music, Bloomington. Hard to get into, even more difficult to stay in. I played opera every semester. I eventually won a concerto competition where in your senior recital, you have to play a mallet piece, which is marimba or vibes, and one of your 4 pieces. And I picked this monstrous violin concerto that Itzhak Perlman played. He's a great Israeli, violinist, virtuoso. He played it as his encore, which means it's got to kick some butt. Yeah. It's a beautiful piece called The Introduction to Rondo Capriccioso by Camille Saint-Saëns. I can send you a copy of that, and then you can play it, but it's ridiculous. So I spent maybe 2 hours a day for 365 days learning that piece and building it up to at the end, it's like, I'm going. So my teacher said, wow, when I gave my recital, and it was one of 4 pieces. I played a timpani, a virtuosic timpani piece, 2 pianos and percussion with 2 virtuoso, grand pianos, and then a percussionist and a drummer, timpanist, and then 2 other pieces. But he said, I want you to enter this contest. So it's a concerto contest. All right, I enter it and I win. That means I perform with a 60-piece orchestra, this violin concerto, memorized, of course, on a marimba in an opera hall at Indiana University. This opera hall is bigger than the New York Met in New York.
Wow.
I mean, this school is not mess around. Anyway, I kicked butt on it, and that was when I was 20, barely 23.
How do you get from there to auditioning with Mellencamp?
Well,
was that
what
your
happened
first big break?
So I get into the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra, which is huge because there aren't that many orchestras. And I turn it down because I still want to be in the Beatles. So the next 4 years, I'm struggling, trying to catch up to be a rock guy. And many times I was like, why did you do this classical training? All those years, you could have been playing drum set. Now I'm thinking, I got to compete with Steve Gadd, Steve Smith, Billy Cobham, Vinnie Colaiuta. I mean, I'm like, what? Oh, man, I felt so lost. Anyway, I'm practicing 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, studying with two great drum set teachers, one in New York and Boston. I'm living at home. Then I moved back to Indiana. Everyone told me, you're making a big mistake. The music business is in, I'm sure you can relate to this because you're in Minneapolis. Music business is in Nashville, New York, L.A., not in Indiana, college town. So I go back there to form a band. It was a fusion band. You know, we were playing Gino Vanelli and some Cobham and, you know, Mahavishnu Orchestra. I mean, you know, that's the music I liked. And the idea, the business model was get in a house, write songs, get a record deal, make a record, go on tour. Didn't happen. So I'm like, God, I'm 27, you guys. So it's like, sheesh, I'm going to move to New York. But a week before I move, I'm having
So you were totally searching at that time.
Basically, I'm not part of a team. I'm jobless. So I'm having lunch with this girl, a singer-songwriter, says, hey, you know, there's this guy, he's got a record deal, and he's on this new network called MTV. And I went, I've seen him, and he's on the radio, and he just got back from tour opening up for Kiss, and, you know, he fired his drummer last night. I went, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
I went, whoa, touring, records, TV, Saturday Night Live. Well, he wasn't on Saturday Night Live yet, but anyway, I go running out of the restaurant, go to a payphone because there was no cell phone, put a quarter in, call the guitar player, say, look it, man, can I audition? Are you auditioning? He said, I'll call you back in 2 weeks. Call me back, says, all right, you can audition. I audition, and the wild thing is I only played 2 songs, and of course I memorized the entire recent record playing. I wrote everything out, memorized everything. Funny thing is I didn't understand why the drummer played so simple. This was not my realm. I was in a different... It was almost like I'd been looking through a telescope, and now I'm looking through a microscope. Both worlds, you know, valid, but just different directions. So I win the audition, but the way I found out was as I'm packing up 15 minutes after we played, there was a meeting with the band, and the guitar player who I'd call it comes down, says, smiles, shakes my hand, goes, welcome to hell. I went... I'm so pumped. 5 weeks later, we're in L.A. at Cherokee Studios on Fairfax. I'm sure you know it. Yeah. And I'm making a record. I tell everybody, I've done it. I'm making it. And after 2 days of recording, I'm fired.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. We're staying at the Chateau Marmont on Sunset. We have a band meeting, and I can feel it. I can feel the vibe.
Yep.
And my boss says, you're not playing a record, you're fired. And I'm like, what? And here's the bottom line. Here's the deal. Well, you're recording with tape back then, no Pro Tools. So they need the drummer to have great drums, great sound, great time, great feel, play with a click track, be able to take instruction, be able to adapt and adjust, be creative, be innovative, have good communication skills, be able to adapt and adjust, all of this stuff. And the producer needed to get the record. It was Steve Cropper in 8 weeks. Wow. That means record the drums, and then overdub everything, and then do the vocals, which takes forever, and then, you know, mix it. I mean, 8 weeks is a short time with a kind of a green band. So the producer says, no, I got to use my session guys. So my boss is telling me, you're not making a record, you can go home. And what happened after that was a life-changing moment. And what it was I said, no. I'm not going home. That would be like me saying to you, Paul, hey, Paul, I'm firing you. And you go, no, you can't. I went, you're fired. He says, nope, I'm not fired. I went, what don't you understand about you're fucking fired?
You're fired. Yeah.
And so I look back, and what was happening was this guy was trying to take away my purpose in life, my bliss, my deepest desires. I was like, done. I'm done. I did the classical thing. This is where I want to be. I didn't know what I was going to do, but you can't send me home. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I felt like a loser. I felt just all this negative stuff. So I'm trying to negotiate a deal that'll benefit the both of us. So I go, all right, am I still the drummer in your band or what? And there was silence. And he's going,
You're half fired. We're going to break away from the interview right now because I want to tell you about a couple of really cool things. First of all, thank you to everybody who's embraced Funk Friday. We are having so much fun bringing a little joy to the internet every single Friday with a 1-minute funk jam. So thank you so much for that. And if you like Funk Friday and you like Music on the Run and you want to become our partner and help us put those shows on, go to patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. Again, become our partner at patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. And there you'll get all the information on how you can financially help us produce this podcast and get some pretty cool merchandise and incentives in return. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank the patrons who've already signed up. We could not do this show without you. As always, thank you so much for supporting us here at Music on the Run. Now back to our interview.
he's going,
You're half fired.
well, you're not playing on the record. You're still in the band, but you're not playing on the record. So I said, all right, and I'm fumbling. I go, I'm going to go in the studio, and I'm going to watch these suckers play my drum parts on your record. And I'll watch, and I'll learn, I'll take notes, and I'll benefit from that. And you'll benefit, because I'm your drummer, right? Right?
Right.
Silence. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, all right, you don't have to pay me, and I'll sleep on the couch.
Really?
Sure, that sounds good. What employer doesn't love hearing the employee will work for free? But,
right.
Dude, I learned so much watching these guys. The whole thing was, I had no experience making records.
Yeah.
I had literally, this is the bottom line, I had no experience making records that get on an album, that get played on the radio and become a #1 hit. I mean, the purpose of a session player, you and me, really, if we're hired, is one thing. Get the song on the radio to be a #1 hit.
Right.
It's not about me. It's about we.
Yeah.
The producer, the artist, the song, the music, anything but me. What can I do to get the song on the radio? It's not about me. Forget about me. It's about what do I say? What do I not say? What do I play? What do I not play? Get the song on the radio to be #1.
Right.
And so I didn't even think that way before. It was always about me. Think about it. When you're practicing all day long as a child, it's all about you. Me. How do I sound? How do I look? How do I play? Me. But now it was pivoting into this new world. And that's when I went home after those 4 weeks, I went, wow. Okay, how do I learn to be the drummer to serve this guy's music, this guy, this band? How do I fit in with this new corporation I'm in? Yeah. So I made a vow. I says, I'm going to make that next record. I got to redeem myself. So let's jump ahead 2 years.
Yeah.
When Criteria Studios in Miami, you know it. And listen, this guy, I'll reveal his name in a sec. This guy, it was the hardest, most miserable record I've ever made in my life. Which, he was going through a divorce. Oh. He was about to lose his record deal. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I saw him go by me and the bass player one night in the dark on his Harley at 80 miles an hour, and the dog jumped out. The bike goes down, hits the pavement, sparks are flying everywhere. Motorcycle hits a tree and explodes. And we're like, slam on the brakes, headlights, bright lights come on, and we're just like, oh my God, all of a sudden, he's hobbling across the road and then back across. That son of a gun, when the bike went down, got on the bike, spinning around, and was athletic enough to push off before it hit the tree.
Oh.
So the bottom line is he was not in the greatest mood. 2 guys in the band got fired. Bass player, keyboard player. I almost got in a fist fight with him because he was being a complete jerk.
Yeah.
And I realized if we get into that, I'll be fired. And I vowed I'd be on this record. And it's triggering all that thing that happened 2 years ago. So all of a sudden, I get summoned 3 hours later, come in the control room. The boss goes, dude, we need a drum thing here after the second chorus. Machine is kind of boring here, like a solo right there. And I'm excited and terrified. I'm terrified if I fail, I'll get fired. But I'm excited. I'm going to be on the record. Thank God they spent all day getting drum sounds, because back then most of the drums were recorded in like vocal booths, so you could control the ambience. And well, this guy wanted the drums in the big room. He wanted the biggest drum sound in the world. And In the Air Tonight was on the charts with Phil Collins, so that was a big sound.
Yes, it was.
So during that whole time getting sounds, I'm thinking, what am I going to play that's going to serve this guy's song, that's going to get the song on the record, that'll get it on the radio? And what can I play that's going to go flying through, car stereos, TV, speakers, and, radio. And so it's my time. And the machine is going, dish, 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 ka, dish, dish, dish. And this is what I call my kabam moment. K-A, get it? Kenny Aronoff? And so, kabam! Kabam!
Yeah.
And so, it's like Kalabunga. So, it's kabam, and I stop, and I look in the control room, and everyone, 9 of them are going like that. I'm like, whew, still got my job. That's what I'm thinking.
Right.
So, I try a whole bunch of stuff, and I hit a dead end, and I'm summoned in, and they go, do this. Don't do this. Do this. Don't do this. My head's spinning, and I go, oh, my God, I got to save my career. I got to save my ass. So I get out there. I'm 50 feet away from the drums. I'm going, dude, this is the moment. This is your moment. Strike out, and you lose the World Series. Hit a home run, and you win the World Series. I'm 40 feet from the drums, and I'm going, what are you going to play? I'm at 30 feet. I don't know. 20 feet. What are you going to play, dude? 10 feet. I don't know. I get to the drums. I look at them, and I look up at those guys. I went, shit. I went, okay. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I'm gonna use what I already did, but somehow do it different. Which is basically I shifted it in eighth note. Instead of playing like boom ba goose goose go, I went boom blah 1 which is all offbeat. And the boss goes, yeah. Look, at the long and short of it is, this ended up being John Cougar Mellencamp's biggest #1 hit single ever. And he got 2 Grammys. We sold millions of copies. This was it's like I hit a home run.
The classic Kenny Aronoff drum fill in the middle of that song makes that song for me. I mean, it's a great song, but what a moment for you.
Yeah, I mean,
what a moment for the song.
It launched my career.
Of course.
It launched my career. I remember Harvey Mason seeing me at NAMM and go, dude, are you the boom ba doosh doosh doo doo da doo 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 ba ba boo boo. That was the beginning of. Now dude. Do you think that corporation, John Mellencamp, didn't want me? I just made him $1 million. Now, for the next 17 years in that band, every time he played a song, and I mean, they all sounded pretty much the same. Acoustic guitar. He'd play it twice and go, what do you got, Aronoff? And I used to think, God damn, man, give me a chance. But what was happening? Smart. I made him millions of dollars, do it again. And so for the next 17 years, that's exactly what I did.
He challenged you to do that. And you had to come up. You had to come.
I had to always come up. He'd go like, that's a shit beat. Look, it hurts so good. That was my first big song. That was the first single on the radio before Jack and Diane. Yeah. Hurts So Good and Jack and Diane were in the top 10 at the same time. Back then, there's a million charts. You could be #1 on chart, and there's maybe 50 records sold, never even played on the radio. This was the day where there was 2 formats, singles and album-oriented format. Right. If you were on a singles format and you were #1, you were on every friggin' station in the world. You were on Saturday Night Live, American Bandstand, Solid Gold, every TV. You were obnoxiously everywhere. It's not like, hey, well, I hear people say, yeah, I'm on 20 number one singles. What? Never heard one of your songs, and they sound like shit anyway. It's like, because they're number one on some format that nobody listens to or cares about. Yeah. This was, you knew it. If you were number one, you were competing with Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5, or the McCartney, or, Billy Joel, the Police, Tom Petty, the Stones, everybody. Springsteen, they were dominating the charts, man. So, it hurt so good. What happened? When I got in Mellencamp band, I started practicing left-handed to dumb my playing down. So that means I'm playing a left-handed lead on the hi-hat as opposed to right-handed lead. And John plays this song, Hurt So Good. Hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. So I'm thinking, and I went, maybe I'll try softly. I'm going, I'm playing left-handed, and John goes, whoa, what beat are you playing? I'm like, oh, shit. He's going to hate. He says, why haven't you ever played that beat before? I went, I've been playing that beat for 2 years.
Right. Wow.
But here's the takeaway. He doesn't know if it's left or right-handed. The feel was different. I was a beginner playing left-handed, so it was sort of sloppy and greasy and cool.
Yeah.
John loved that. So the whole song was built around that feel. And I remember being at Cherokee, where I got fired.
Yep, right.
I'm back there making a number 2 hit single, and on the same record as Jack and Diane, and so I'm listening to the playback, and I remember going, before I listen to playback, I go in and I'm like, God, man, I'm playing these stupid drum beats, Jeff Porcaro's got all the cool stuff on, Rosanna, and then, Stuart Copeland gets to play it. Bonham is like killing it, and I'm stuck with and then I heard the playback, and the drums were way up in the mix, and I went, oh my God, it's not the part, it's the feel and the energy and the personality and the spirit, and you could feel every emotion I'm going through, and I went, that's the shit. That's feeling. And man, when that thing was on the radio, the drums were so loud. John said, I want to blow the shit out of any song that comes after us, and I want to crush any song that came before us. And we did. Because the song that kept Hurt So Good out of being number one was Ebony and Ivory. And then the only thing that made it more difficult was Eye of the Tiger, because the Rocky song, that movie was out. Gun, 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 gun. At least it had some balls, but still.
As he flips the finger, yes. So take me to the 18 years on the road. Here's what I want to talk about. Because this is Music on the Run, we like to talk about how did you survive out on the road. You've been on the road forever.
Yeah.
But we could talk about what the difference is between being on the road back in those days to up to here. How do you, first of all, you look like a kid still. How do you do that? Let's start there, and then we'll talk about life on the road.
Well, and this is me out of shape, folks. No, the thing is, all right, I have the 8 steps to a healthy life, and I put it together. I was doing it all along, but I put together 8 things. I'll try to go real fast.
No, please.
Weight training, it makes you strong. But more important is it builds your hormone levels up. Or in my case, since I'm an old fuck, keeps my hormone levels up, which keeps your immune system up. Funny how that's important right now. Cardio, only way to exercise the heart muscle. Also, keeps your hormone levels up and your immune system up. So, number 3 is some form of stretching. So you've got strength, endurance, and flexibility. The other day I was like, because I've been standing getting ready for the speech, I was like, old man, I went right into yoga. I'm telling you, 15 minutes of yoga, twice a day for 2 days, done. I was like flexible and
Wow.
So you got those. Number 4, big, is diet. You are what you eat.
Yep.
It's more like what you shouldn't eat. No fried food's not good. Too much sugar is not good. Alcohol's fine. No.
Okay, you have the alcohol. I'll have the sugar. That's my vice.
Drinking's okay in moderation, or not. I'm the type of guy. I like to drink. Have a little bit of drink, or I'll take 2 weeks off. I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, nobody. They never go in the hospital. Oh my God, he had a heart attack. He was told not to have 6 pieces of broccoli. 6, will kill you. You know what I'm saying? That never happens.
Right.
Vegetables aren't going to kill you. So I eat red meat, and I eat chicken, and I eat fish. I get the best quality. I don't eat a lot. It's kind of a paleo diet. It's like, you just don't eat a lot of grains. You eat mostly meat and vegetables. Yep. That's pretty much it. And you stay away from grains, except for potatoes. That's okay. And certain nuts. I slip and goof up all the time because I'm a peanut butter junkie. But diet. Let's just say diet. Now the fifth thing for me is supplements. I'm a supplement king because I push myself. I'm the guy that used to sleep only 4 hours a night. So a good multiple. During this COVID, I'm taking 2 quercetin. Quercetin encapsulates all your cells. The COVID can be in you, but apparently it won't. Viruses can't get into the cells. So I take quercetin, 10,000 milligrams of D3. D3 is an immune booster. I've been doing that for years. And then zinc. I take a certain amount of zinc. All these things I've been tested. I get an annual executive blood test every year. They know exactly what's going on in my body. So if my vitamin D levels are low, it increases my D. If they're high, this is D3. And if they're high, we'll bring it down, and so on and so forth. I take a DHEA supplement and a pregnenolone. These are all important, and I think they're all hormone related. Yes, vitamin C. I take fish oil. Fish oil, you guys, good for like about 30 different things, including hair, which obviously works for me.
Yeah.
I do. I have hair on my tongue.
Do you? Nice. Shave that bad boy.
It just grew in the wrong place. So let me see. I could go on and on. I take green food. A lot of times for breakfast, I'll have coconut milk with no sugar. I'll take a scoop of protein powder that is super. It's like gluten-free and inflammation-free. And then I take a scoop of green food. It's called Nano Greens. Great company. NANO Greens.
I'm going to write that down because I do a Dr.
There's a green, there's a protein powder. I can't remember. It's my doctor designed it. But there's different ones. There's one called Kachava, Kachava, and that's a plant-based. I mix plant-based with animal, whatever the other one is, because it affects my muscles differently. So anyway, at least me. And then in that I put a scoop of fish oil and a cup of blueberries. Okay. Blueberries are great for immune boosting, and you get natural sugar. And then a scoop of peanut butter or almond butter.
I love that too.
And that gives, and the fat from the peanut butter or almond butter, that and the sugar will curtail your appetite. 3 espressos. Three. Now, here's my new thing, folks.
Okay.
Wake up, have a big glass of freshly squeezed celery juice. Ooh. Now, the thing about celery juice, it takes inflammation down or keeps inflammation in you. Inflammation is the new thing. Inflammation is, if you're suffering and you have pain, that's an alarm that something's not right in your body. That's your body crying. That's your body having tears, the tears that you don't have in your eyeballs. Yep. Your body's crying. It's telling you we got a problem. If you have inflammation in your body, that means there's a problem. The body is trying to adapt and fix itself. You take it, then 30 minutes, if you really want to go super Ken, you go water and lemon juice. Lemon juice will kill viruses. Yep. Fresh squeezed lemon, water. 30 minutes later, celery juice. 30 minutes later, finally, 3 espressos. Then I take the protein powder. No, dude. And anyway, it's Kabam
I'm
coffee.
a total coffee junkie. I do that, and then I do my protein shake. And I survive.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, this morning I did it. I just wanted to get going fast. 6 is water. And I could do better on the water thing, but You realize, oh, good. Yeah, I could do better. Every organ in your body needs water. And
is coffee water?
Huh?
There's water in coffee, right?
Yeah, and in liquor.
Right. Only if you add it.
Some people stretch it. It's in cigarettes, too.
That's it's in everything.
Yeah.
It's in ice cream.
When you're making out with your girlfriend, somehow there's water. You got to do that to drink. Anyway, that's
6 is water.
Yeah. So anyway, the water, you could live 40 days without food, but only 3 days without water.
Mm-hmm.
It's really heavy. So water, and then the next two, I'm constantly working on. Next two is some form of relaxation. Stress is the worst thing for your health.
Yeah.
And so you create a meditation or a thing. I'm into this thing called I'm into this thing called breathing. But there's
I'm going to try that sometime.
Yeah. You've been holding your breath. Have you been holding your breath your entire life?
Sometimes I feel like it, Kenny.
Yeah, I know. There's a thing. Check out, you guys, this guy. They call him the Iceman. Wim Hof. Wimhoff. This guy climbed Mount Everest in his shorts. His thing is so intense. He can, I've done like a 35-minute breathing. It's basically going, and the simple exercise, 30 of those. Hold your breath for hold your breath for a minute.
Ooh.
All right. And that you 30 breaths, breathe out, hold your breath for 1 minute, then breathe in, hold for 15 seconds, do it again. And then hold your breath for a minute and a half, do it again, hold your breath for 2 minutes. I sometimes can't do it past 1 minute just that day. The point is, what it does, it gets rid of inflammation, completely energizes you, and relaxes you. So what I do is I do that, feel like $1,000,000. I even sometimes start giggling. It makes me feel good. I do that 4 times. So like I said, I've done classes where I've done it 35 times for 35 minutes and 45 minutes. Yeah. And when you're done, you feel so energized. What it does is, when, let's say an antelope gets chased by a lion and it gets away, it goes into fight or flight when it sees the lion. It runs, and when it's free, it goes.
Yeah.
You don't know how animals do that? You have a dog that does that ever?
Sure.
That's them shaking off stress and tension. And the breathing does that. The breathing shakes off all and so it takes rid of stress. That's number 7. Finally, number 8 is sleep.
Okay.
And sleep is one of my weakest things. That's the only time your brain and body repairs itself. Literally, at night, when you're sleeping and you're repairing your brain, you're getting all the ashes out of your brain, clearing out the black matter, gray matter. And I'm not a great sleeper, but I try to get 7 or 8. So even if I get up 5 times at night, I go back to sleep because my brain is going. And maybe it's the coffee and a little bit of supplements keeping me going, but it's just sleep is important. So those are my big 8. And I know it took a long time, but you guys, it's the foundation of mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health.
It's super important for you to pass that message on. It's what the whole podcast, besides, of course, our musical connection, is all about. It's how to inspire people who are traveling all the time, whether it's business people, politicians, musicians, whatever the case may be. We look at you, Kenny, and I said it before. I said, you look great. You look like a kid. You look the same today as you did when we did that record 20 years ago. Yeah, and there is a secret to that. And there is a secret to that. Yeah, and you sharing that and passing that on to everybody is what this is about, man.
Well, that's good, because I'm glad you are about that, because I really believe that the biggest thing that an individual can do in life is to be positive and be the light. We're going through a very difficult time in the world right now. It's really getting down to good and evil. So if you're good and you have that positive energy, the ripple effect of how you feel will affect the people around you. That's the most we can do.
Yeah.
Is affect the people around us, and then they affect the others. So if I've passed on anything positive, that's a good thing.
Right.
That's a good thing, which is what you just said.
Do you think it's a choice? I have asked other guests this. You can either choose to be positive or you can not be positive. I mean, I think you have a choice when you wake up every day to be grateful, to be positive, or not.
I agree. Now, that aside, some people can be chemically,
of course,
their chemistry can be in a way that, like for example, if I tell somebody your dog is dead, okay, you hear that thought and you immediately go, oh, and you feel ill, your knees buckle, you get depressed, and vice versa. If you're feeling chemically down, those thoughts can come in your head. And then it becomes a vicious cycle between your brain and your chemistry. Right. And so, but if you know that, you can work with that. That's that's the message. You can work with it.
Right.
Go to the positive.
I think if we did more of that, we would be in a much better place. And I believe we still have an opportunity here with what's going on in our nation to do that, and to do the right thing.
Yeah.
We can do that.
I agree. And any little bit you can do. This is not sugar-coated and like, oh, my God, I'm going to change the world with, big. It's one person to, like there's only two people in my house, me and my wife. So if she's going down, I try to be a positive influence. I try to be like a team leader, a king, a coach. If nothing else, I don't have to say anything. It's the way I act. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you tell people something and they're like, nah. You can do so. You can influence your environment by the way you carry yourself. Mm-hmm. Not tell somebody something. The way you carry yourself, the way you talk will influence the people around you. You set an example.
People are watching. People are listening all the time. Okay, I'm gonna be good to you because I know that you probably have 20,000 other things to do. But before I let you go, vaccine is here. Do you have plans for 21 or is it? What are you thinking for
I've already started Joe Satriani's new record.
Oh, perfect.
Which eventually I'll tour on.
Okay.
I'm about to write 6 charts today for 4 for one artist, another one for the bass player from he's doing a thing for he plays with I'm spacing, it's Italian, huge Italian artist.
Sugaro.
I actually recorded with him and what?
Sugaro? We'll dub it in.
No. Anyway, and it's more recording, more. My agent says there's going to be a bunch of speaking events I have to do, and I spend at least a week preparing, going over each speech. I will adjust for the people I'm speaking to. Each speech, each corporation has a different theme, and I try to accommodate them. So I am so busy between sessions, that podcasts. I'm working on I can't even remember all the stuff I'm doing. They're writing a Legends book on me and Modern Drummer, so I've got to edit, the interview. It's always something, it's just nonstop. I can't think of all of it, but I come to this studio every day and I'm working full on. Yeah.
Well, I hope to see you back out on the road when it's safe to go back out on the road. That's what I want to do. And I want to.
I think what's going to happen is that this year is going to be where they're not going to have major touring. It's just too impossible, in my opinion. Too many variables. Every state's different. Yeah. There are venues. Which ones are still open? Which ones are closed? You got people that have left the business. The people in crews had to figure out how to support themselves. You've got crews. You've got tour buses, planes, buses, venues. Yeah. Different countries have different laws. And the COVID's going to go through what it's going to go through. Right. And there's so many variables. not going to happen. It's too many variables.
Not yet.
There's too much we don't know and we're learning about. But it's going to be it's going to come back. Look at it. This is a horrible situation, but this has happened many times before we were alive. It happens. It's the way the world works. There are pandemics and people adjust, and we're just experiencing it first time. And that I want to add, that's the tricky thing about this thing.
Give everyone your website so we can come out, find more information about your speaking, get your book. Give us that info.
Yeah, my website's www.Kenny.Aronoff, and my last name is A-R, and then it's on off.com, and there you can see my speaking page.
Yep.
You can reach out to me to do sessions there, and then they didn't throw me off Twitter yet.
Do you need
never
to be
know
thrown off
who's
Twitter?
Any one of us could get thrown off for anything. I'm a drummer. I'll probably get thrown off. So Twitter is official Aronoff. LinkedIn is Kenny Aronoff. Instagram is Kenny Aronoff. Facebook is Kenny Aronoff. If you ask me to add you, I'm so sorry. I got tapped out like 100 years ago. But that's pretty much it. And you guys, this has been awesome.
Kenny, you have stayed relevant for 40 years. You're a positive cat. We don't get to see each other all the time, but every time I talk to you, man, you always lead with such a great attitude, and it isn't about how you handle yourself, man. People feel good to be around you. You're an inspiration, not only as a great drummer, but as a good man. So thank you for who you are, and thanks for all the great music that you've made over the years, man, and I can't wait to make more music with you again.
All right, 2021, you and I are doing something together.
We are.
On Zoom, virtually something. We got to do that. And are you playing guitar or bass on these things?
It doesn't matter. I'm playing everything on these things. We're going to get him on a Fun Friday, everybody. We're going to figure it out.
You and I will be the White Stripes, but a different name.
But the brown stains.
How about Beauty and the Beast? You'll be Beauty.
That's
You're
right.
way better looking than me. It'll be Beauty and the Beast. I love it. Beauty and the Beast. And it's just you and me. You playing bass and singing.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be called Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
That's it.
That's it for this edition of Music on the Run, episode 30. This is my buddy Kenny Aronoff. Thanks so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Music on the Run was hosted by yours truly, St. Paul Peterson. Edited and produced by my buddy Davide Raso. Video editing by Ivan Sebastianov. And a very special thanks to the people who financially support this podcast. And remember, bald is beautiful.